Hi, my name is Chris Jane. I'm a middle school teacher, and I've been teaching an in-person summer program. And I wanted to share some of my experiences on what it's been like to do this. It's a little about the setup I have. I put a fan outside, and then on the other side of the room, I made sure that the windows are open. And here's where my setup is up in front of the class. And having the fan means outside my door and then putting myself in front of the door like this means that there's always this airflow that's coming in. So I've really enjoyed using just the cotton mask that I can, I bought these in a pack and I just take it home and throw it in the laundry. And I'm really helpful at getting the ear extensions. So instead of having it go around my ear the way this is designed, I actually wear it like a band around my neck. So it makes it a lot easier to wear all day. And it doesn't fall off. So I put this extension on, and instead of putting it around my ears, instead of even putting it around my head, I actually end up just putting it around my neck. And it's actually a lot more comfortable. And I've been wearing this all day in the summer teaching, and it breathes a lot better. It doesn't catch up moisture. I'm not getting foggy in my glasses and stuff like that. I find that families are pretty good about not sending kids to school if they have a fever or coughing. So like this was not that important. It's the things that are a little more tricky to figure out, like things that kids get all the time, like stomach aches or kids got headaches, things that the kids can usually get. Those are also symptoms for COVID-19 for children, and those get a lot trickier. And those are the things that often get skipped over on any campus screening. And that was something I had to think a little more about. What is my procedures if I have a student who has a stomach ache? What do I do? Would I have the student go straight to the office, or would I have the student sit outside and have them and kind of contact the parents? Something to think through for your setting. That's far more common than something that requires a temperature checking. A little about the setup here. For those of you guys who are doing any kind of like simulcasting, you'll see this device here, the Owl, which is a 360 camera that some schools use. What it does is, if you see here in the setup here, it allows you to see the whole room. If you do have to do this, I do find that it was really useful for me to use the iPad to log into the Meet so that I can keep track of the chat and see who's in the room and like have that on my desk here, and then have my school laptop kind of running the presentations, especially if I have a slideshow. If I'm going to present screen to show a video or to show a slideshow, that basically occupies this computer. So it allows me then to use the iPad, which then actually I can travel around the room with the iPad and be able to kind of still talk to the students. Speaking of iPads, I also found that it was really useful that like if there's a group project where I want the remote audience to remote students to feel like they're in class, I would have the students who are in class take out their iPad and mute, because otherwise there's an echo. So they would mute their iPad, but they would pin one of the remote participants. So I would assign every student a remote participant, and they would put their iPad on their desk with the remote person's face on it because they pinned their screen, so that when I'm up here in the room, I look across, instead of me trying to like pay attention to who's on the screen here at home and who's in class here, by them putting their iPad out with a paired participant at home, I'm able to look across the room organically and kind of see faces and talk. They mute, and basically all the voices will come through the Owl. Use an Owl. Some things you have to keep in mind is that for the Owl to work effectively, all your lights have to be on. Also, you tend to talk with the teacher's voice, but the kids don't. So this microphone's pretty good, but you really want to have your Owl situated close to the students, not close to you, which might mean you need an extension cord to get it farther away from you to be closer to the kids. Also, that the Owl, you want to keep it as simple as possible. So like, I don't use any of their apps or software. All I do is I plug it in to whether you're using Zoom or Meet, and all I do is I click over to video settings, and this would be Zoom or Meet, the same thing. And I just choose the Owl as just like you choose a webcam. There's a software that lets you judge which angle the camera is. If I need to move the camera, I find it a lot easier just to pivot physically the camera. So like if the camera is not to the right angle, just move with your hand instead of trying to download the software and Bluetooth link it. So the buttons on the Owl, both sides there's a mute button to mute the Owl. And there's a volume button on the front to control the speaker volume. And that's about it for the owl.